Water means life. That's what we're taught. Rivers, lakes, oceans are teeming with fish, plants, microorganisms. Water is where life began, where it thrives. But not all water gives life. Because deep underground, in caves and caverns where sunlight has never reached, there are lakes that don't support life. They end it. These are waters so toxic, so hostile, that nothing can survive in them. Fish die within seconds. Insects dissolve. Even bacteria struggle to exist. If a human fell into one of these lakes, the results would be catastrophic. Today, we're going underground to explore the deadliest waters on Earth. Unlike the mysterious depths of the ocean, these lakes are accessible. They have been studied, they have been documented, and in some cases, they have killed. Let us start with the most common and most deadly type of underground water, sulfur lakes. These exist all over the world in Mexico, Italy, Romania, Russia, and parts of the United States. Anywhere you have limestone caves, groundwater, and bacterial activity, you can find them. And they are all deadly in the same way. The most famous and well-documented example is Cueva de Villa Luz in southern Mexico. Scientists have been studying this cave system for decades, and it is one of the most hostile environments on Earth. The moment you enter, you smell it. Rotten eggs. That is hydrogen sulfide gas, the same gas that comes from volcanoes and decaying matter. But in this cave, it is not just a smell, it is a threat. The air in Cueva de Villa Luz contains hydrogen sulfide concentrations high enough to be lethal. Workers exploring the cave must wear gas masks. Without protection, you would start feeling dizzy within minutes. Your throat would burn. Your vision would blur. Eventually, your respiratory system would shut down and you would collapse. But the air is just the beginning. The real danger is the water. The lakes in this cave are not blue or clear. They are milky white, streaked with yellow and orange, and they are not normal water. They are sulfuric acid. The pH levels range from 1 to 2. That is about as acidic as battery acid. This water is so corrosive that it is actively dissolving the limestone walls of the cave. It is carving new tunnels, creating new chambers, eating through solid rock. And it has been doing this for thousands of years. If you touched this water, it would burn your skin immediately. If you fell in, the acid would eat through your clothes and hair within seconds. Your eyes would be destroyed almost instantly. And all the while, you would be inhaling hydrogen sulfide gas, which can paralyze your lungs before the acid even finished the job. But here is what makes sulfur lakes truly terrifying. They are not rare. They are common. Similar caves exist in Italy. The Grotta del Fiume near Naples has sulfur lakes that have killed multiple explorers. In Romania, Movile Cave has been sealed off because its sulfuric atmosphere is too dangerous for regular access. In Russia, caves in the Ural Mountains have sulfur lakes that remain unexplored because gas concentrations are lethal. These are not mysterious anomalies. They are well-documented, well-studied death traps. And new ones are being discovered every year. Now, let's talk about another type of deadly underground water, one that's even more common than sulfur lakes, and in many ways, more dangerous because it looks completely normal. Anoxic water, water with zero oxygen. These lakes exist in underwater cave systems all over the world, but they're particularly well documented in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula and in parts of Florida's cave systems. Cave divers encounter them regularly, and several have died because of them. Here's how they work. You have normal clear water at the surface of a cave pool. It looks safe, it looks diveable, but below a certain depth, sometimes just a few meters down, there is a layer of water that is completely different. It's called a halocline, a boundary between freshwater and saltwater. When you cross it while diving, everything changes. the water below is thick, murky. Visibility drops to near zero, and it is dead. No fish, no plants, no life at all. Just water that has been sitting stagnant for thousands of years, accumulating hydrogen sulfide, methane, and other toxic gases. The cenote Angelita in Mexico is one of the most famous examples. It is a popular diving spot, but at 30 meters down, there is a halocline that looks like an underwater cloud. Below that cloud is an anoxic layer filled with hydrogen sulfide. Divers who have been down there describe it as swimming through fog. The water is so saturated with gas that it looks like smoke. If your equipment fails down there, if your regulator malfunctions, or if you panic and remove your mask, you will breathe in that water. And that is when you die. Because that water is not just oxygen-free, it is toxic. The hydrogen sulfide is absorbed directly into your bloodstream through your lungs. It shuts down cellular respiration. Your cells stop being able to use oxygen. Even if you're getting oxygen from your tank, you suffocate from the inside out. Multiple cave divers have died in anoxic lakes, not from drowning, not from running out of air, but from inhaling water that was chemically incompatible with life. And the terrifying part? These anoxic layers can be anywhere, in underwater caves throughout Mexico, Florida, and the Caribbean, in flooded mines, even in normal-looking lakes that have a dead zone at the bottom. You cannot see them from the surface. You cannot smell them. You only know they are there when you hit the halocline. And by then, you are already inside. There is a third type of deadly underground water, less common than sulfur or anoxic lakes, but just as well documented: brine pools. These are underground lakes, so salty, far saltier than ocean water, that they kill through pure chemistry. The most studied examples are in the Gulf of Mexico's underwater caves and in certain Mediterranean cave systems. These brine pools can have salinity levels up to 8 or 10 times higher than seawater. We are talking 250 to 350 grams of salt per liter. For comparison, seawater has about 35 grams per liter. At that concentration, salt becomes a poison. If a fish swims into a brine pool, it dies almost instantly. The salt pulls water out of the fish's cells through osmosis faster than the fish can regulate. The fish dehydrates from the inside out, even though it is surrounded by water. Its cells collapse. Its organs fail. Death happens in seconds. The same thing would happen to a human. If you fell into a brine pool and swallowed the water, your mouth and throat would start swelling immediately. Your tongue would expand. Your airway would constrict. You would go into shock within minutes as your cells began to shrivel. Brine pools do something else that is deeply unsettling. They preserve things. Because of the extreme salinity, bacteria cannot survive in brine pools. And without bacteria, nothing decays. So when an animal falls into a brine pool and dies, it just stays there, perfectly preserved. Cave explorers in the Gulf of Mexico have found fish, crustaceans, and even small octopi floating in brine pools, looking like they died yesterday, even though they have been there for years or decades. It is like an underwater graveyard where nothing rots, where death is frozen in time. If a diver is not paying attention, if they descend into a cave and do not realize they have entered a brine pool until it is too late, their body could join that collection. So, why do these deadly lakes exist? What creates them? The answer is actually simple: isolation and chemistry. These underground lakes have been cut off from the surface for thousands, sometimes millions of years. No sunlight reaches them. No fresh oxygen circulates. No new water flows in to dilute the chemicals. Over time, bacteria in the cave walls and in the water begin breaking down minerals. In limestone caves, that process releases sulfur, which combines with water to create sulfuric acid. The acid eats through more limestone, releasing more minerals, creating a feedback loop that makes the water more and more toxic over time. In areas where seawater has seeped underground and evaporated, you get brine pools, salt concentrations that build up over millennia until the water becomes deadly. And in flooded cave systems, where there is no water circulation, oxygen gets depleted by bacteria and organic decay. What is left is anoxic water, chemically stable, but biologically dead. These processes happen slowly. Over centuries, over millennia, the lakes just sit there, in darkness, accumulating toxins, becoming more hostile, waiting. And here is what makes these lakes truly terrifying. We keep finding more of them. Every year, cave explorers discover new cave systems, new flooded tunnels, new underground lakes, and a significant percentage of them are toxic. There could be thousands more of these lakes, thousands more underground death traps sitting in darkness, waiting to be found, or waiting to claim their next victim.